Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel and the Wrestling Challenge Review Series. Got a few more of these, not too many, maybe just a half dozen or so, maybe a little less. But anyway, this is the 319, right before WrestleMania, a couple weeks before Mania 11 edition of Wrestling Challenge, and obviously, this is a time when the WWF is at, I wouldn't, maybe an all time low. You could say an all time low, and maybe somebody would believe you. Anyway, they kind of go at it with the Action Zone concept. Heavenly Bodies against Larry, Santo, and Todd. Morton is out here. Very basic maneuvers, and also the heel turn of Men on a Mission from the Action Zone is the opening segment of the show here. Basically, Mo saying that the fans don't respect them, the fans don't respect what they've tried to do, and Mabel and Mo, or Oscar saying that Mabel and Mo unimpressed. Larry Santo, pretty good guy here. Tom Pritchard with a couple of exchanges with him, hip tosses, arm drags, and the like. Santo gets a little bit of a comeback, nothing too major, and ultimately Jimmy Del Rey takes his man down pretty quickly. Jim Cornette watches as his guys wheelbarrow suplex a guy up and get him up and over. Not a super big deal, but enough to get things going in a positive direction here. Heavenly Bodies still here getting a victory. British John Pierre Lafitte promo first. Almost talked about the British Bulldog match, but John Pierre Lafitte basically saying he's going to take over and come up from under the sea, pretty much, in his very goofy promo. Chick Donovan and the British Bulldog up here. Not quite sure why a couple of weeks before the pay-per-view they haven't really debuted the British Bulldog and Lex Luger as a tag team, especially since they are on the show as a team. It doesn't really make sense. Chick Donovan, though, known for being a southeastern, southern Texas and area, Alabama and the like, enhancement talent, comes up and gets a couple of shots off on the British Bulldog. Bulldog looking super bloated here in 1995. By the end of the year, he's actually back to battling with his brother-in-law Bret Hart over at the World Championship by November, anyway, or by December. Anyway, some basic tie-ups by Donovan. Donovan pretty aggressive here. Hip toss takeover. Bulldog not really terribly impressed with his adversary. Gets what he can out of things there, and a big power slam from the British Bulldog gets him a victory, and ultimately goes running at him pretty aggressively there. Then we move to the next in series, which is Shawn Michaels against Charlie Hunter. Shawn Michaels in an enhancement match out there with Sid, his bodyguard. Bodyguard only for a couple more weeks as Sid is playing a role until the night after WrestleMania, where he turns on Shawn Michaels. Sid is looking massive in this run. Charlie Hunter is the major force that the Shawn Michaels is going to take on here. And as to be expected, a very one-sided affair. Hunter is pretty well trying to get everything he can from the match with Michaels, as it were, and Michaels managing to, um, get in there and get the couple of moves off the nip up the super kick at this point, which he is using, and ultimately getting a victory. Shawn Michaels looks to be in peak shape for his challenge for the World Championship in the semi-main event at WrestleMania. One of my favorite WrestleMania matches is the Shawn Diesel match. Lots of people feeling the same way. Bob Backlund and Major Yates is up in a little bit, but the Head Drinkers and Barry Horowitz and the Brooklyn Brawler up here. Still at ringside upon occasion is Captain Lou Albano. Still kind of cheering him along, Barry Horowitz and the Brooklyn Brawler, providing good opposition, or at least temporary opposition, for Sione and Fatu. Brooklyn Brawler tries to send both of their heads together. They double headbutt him, and he's out of the way relatively quickly. Here, Sione comes in with a bunch of punches, Big Mafia boot, and eventually the top rope splash. Head Shrinkers former tag team champions, and still a formidable team, at least through the midpoint of 1995. Although they do tune up just just the wonder that is Fatu, with Make a Difference Fatu by the summertime. Major Yates and Bob Backlund, as mentioned before. Yates, an African American fellow who has done several enhancement matches before, to very little fanfare. Backlund is not happy with the nature of these opportunities, and he tries to shake hands with Yates. Yates wants nothing to do with Backlund in that way, and off we go into the wild blue yonder of that. Backlund trying to get some semblance of, I guess you'd say, control or whatever have you. Wastes a bunch of time on the ropes. Backlund does cinch up on the headlocks and takes his man down pretty aggressively. Some hard shots, and ultimately tackles by Backlund, and again, there we go, drop toe holds and the like, and ultimately manages to hit from a very basic series of maneuvers there, and ultimately, it's pretty simple. Backlund gets the crossface chicken wing, and we go to a WrestleMania 11 report. Obviously, the Smoking Guns facing off against Owen Hart and a mystery partner. The mystery partner ends up being Yokozuna. Backlund and Bret Hart in a submission match. The Undertaker and King Kong Bundy is here. Also is here is Diesel and Shawn Michaels as former best friends, now turned bitter enemies. Pamela Anderson going to walk Shawn Michaels to the ring, but eventually goes with Diesel by the end of the night, and ultimately that's kind of where you go. Celebrities, Jonathan Taylor Thomas, Nicholas Turo, and others. Mantar against Bob Hayes here. Mantar does a little bit of power moves. Jim Cornette's still out there with this horrible gimmick. Not to say that it doesn't any good, because, I mean, even fireman's carries from a guy, half man, half bull, and Mantar is his name. Not necessarily sure that worked for Cornette or anybody else for that matter. But anyway, so Mantar gets the side suplex, Salto style, and gets a victory in pretty quick order. And then we go to the Diesel interview to close the program. Basically, Diesel says that the WWF runs on Diesel power. He's not giving up the championship anytime soon, and off we go. And closing of that. We'll be back with more right after this.